Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about new car affordability. Before we get in this video though, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And then if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Let's get into it. So Cox Automotive just released a report stating that new car affordability is improving. Now, we are still at historic highs when it comes to unaffordability with brand new cars. I mean, when you look at the graph when it comes to a new car affordability, you basically have this straight trend where, there are some ups and some downs, but it stays relatively flat. And then once the pandemic happens, the graph just skyrockets exponentially, and now we're starting to somewhat come down, but I mean, there's a lot of coming down that we have to go. So right now, the average brand new car takes about 42 weeks of income. If you're wondering, in a normal market, it's usually between, 36 to 34 weeks of income for the average American. And so we are pretty much almost at the point where the average brand new car is almost a full year's salary for the average American. So even though affordability is improving, it's still not good enough. Now, there are some interesting statistics in this report. The average transaction price for a brand new car is just over $48,000. Now, this is just barely above the average MSRP for a brand new car. So what this means is that dealers and manufacturers are discounting vehicles more because average transaction price takes into account tax, title, licensing, and any other dealer fees that might be thrown onto a car purchase. And so if vehicles are transacting barely above the average MSRP, that means that there are some discounts that are covering, the tax, title, license, and other sorts of dealer costs to make it so those numbers are closer. I mean, I think that we're going to be trending towards a market where eventually the average transaction price will be below the average MSRP on a brand new car, which will indicate that there are some pretty substantial discounts happening. But the big number that is pretty crazy is the average payment on a new car. It's down to $754 per month, which again is still way too high compared to what we usually see historically. What you usually want to see, I mean, at least compared to what people's incomes are at right now with new cars, is an average new car payment in the $500 to maybe $600 range. So being well over $700 per month shows that, again, affordability is improving, but it's still not where it needs to be. And if you're wondering, the peak was $791 per month. And that was in December of 2022. That was the average, monthly payment on a car, which, man, that's crazy. Almost $800 per month on average on a brand new car. Now, before we cap things off with today's video, I just want to go over one more thing from the report. So what Cox Automotive states at the end of the report is that there is still a huge difference between people that have high income and good credit and people that have lower income and not so good credit. The people that have high income and good credit, those are the individuals that are still able to buy in this market. But the individuals that don't have very high income and have lower credit, they are still struggling to be able to afford brand new cars. And so although we have seen an increase in these subprime buyers, we're still not where we should be in a normal market when it comes to subprime buyers, because again, affordability is just not where it needs to be for those people to be able to even think about purchasing a brand new car. And so to pull everything together for today's video, we have seen another month in a row where affordability has improved with brand new cars. And the reason why affordability is improving is at the same time that the average income here in the US is increasing. It's not increasing by a massive amount, but it is increasing. Car prices are on the decline on the new car market side of things. Yes, MSRPs aren't coming down because manufacturers usually just keep the MSRPs where they're at, but the discounts that we're seeing at dealerships and from manufacturers are increasing, and the chance that they're going to continue to increase, in my personal opinion, is extremely high because we're seeing that manufacturing is just increasing across the board. Yes, some automakers are, trying to pull back on manufacturing. The one that we always talk about on this channel is how General Motors stopped, they basically idled their plant for 2 weeks with their pickup trucks to keep the inventories at ideal amounts. But here's the deal. You have manufacturers that are just, ramping things up like crazy. I mean, the brands that are under Stellantis, that's a great example. I can tell you anecdotally, Ford is really ramping up production. I mean, we went from Ford not even offering like half the options that were available on vehicles to now you can pretty much get everything that you want on a Ford. Heated steering wheels, those are back. And on top of that, the time of wait that you have from putting in an order to getting a vehicle, like it is shrinking a massive amount with Ford. And so what I foresee happening is these automakers just ramping production back up a massive amount, because that's the trend that I am currently seeing. And so we're going to have more availability with new cars. And the only way to get rid of all of these new cars that are getting built is that dealers are going to have to discount them, and then manufacturers are going to have to discount them. And the automakers like General Motors that are going to try to keep inventory levels at ideal amounts are ultimately going to get hurt, again, just in my personal opinion, because their competitors are going to be building cars. And so people that are out shopping for a car are going to be like, okay, well, do I want to buy a new, let's just say with the trucks, right? Because I guess that's what we're going down with this. Should I buy a new Ford, Ram, or Chevy? Okay, well, Chevy idled their plant for 2 weeks, so there's not that many Silverados on the lot, and Ford has decided to ramp up production with F-150s, so there's lots of F-150s on the lot, and Ram is still building vehicles like crazy, so there's lots of Rams on the lot. And so in that type of situation, then what you're probably going to see is there's going to be discounts on the Ford and on the Ram, and maybe not on the Chevy, because again, availability is tighter. And so then you're going to be like, okay, well, even though I might like the Silverado more than the Ford or than the Ram, I'm going to go with either the Ford or the Ram because I'm going to be able to get a better deal on it. And then it's going to be kind of like this positive feedback loop where all the manufacturers are competing against each other, right? They're all going to have to just keep ramping up production and ramping up discounts if they want to, win the production game. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this situation with affordability increasing, and let me know where you think this is going to go. Do you think that we are going to get back to that, 30-ish, mid-30, week range in terms of how much a vehicle costs for someone's average income here in the US? Or do you think that we're always just going to be above that at this point? Like this is just the new market we live in where we're going to be, over 40 weeks of income required to buy a new car. Interested to hear on that? I'll see you.